38 miles per gallon, that's Prius territory, except this isn't a Prius. It's a 219 horsepower all-wheel drive crossover that can tow 1,500 pounds and still hit 60 faster than most economy cars. This Mazda CX-50 hybrid represents something that by all conventional automotive wisdom shouldn't exist. A performance crossover that achieves hybrid economy without driving like your grandmother's appliance. And with this, Mazda may have broken the efficiency versus fun equation. What's it like? Buckle up, my friends. Let's go for a drive. I'm your host, Brian Max Racer, lover of driving fast, fun things. And on this channel, you get reviews for drivers from drivers. Now, in this episode, we're going to answer the question, can you have 38 miles per gallon and driving engagement in the same crossover? And we're going to have a look at how Mazda's approach is different than everybody else in this segment and why this might be the most important crossover for 2025 for drivers like us. And before we get into what it's like to drive, let's have a look at it in a little more depth. The CX-50 Hybrid debuts as Mazda's first hybrid, uses the proven Toyota hybrid system, but is completely retuned under Mazda's Jinba Itai driver-focused philosophy. Under the hood is a 2.5-liter four-cylinder that's naturally aspirated. The hybrid system has 3 electric motors, the integrated starter generator, the primary drive and regen motor in the transaxle, as well as a motor at the rear axle. Combined, the system makes 219 horsepower and 163 pounds of torque. There's a 1.59 kilowatt-hour battery on board. The transmission's an eCVT, and I'm not getting into that discussion. Yes, I know how it works. It is all-wheel drive because of that electric motor at the rear axle, and unlike other Toyota-based hybrids, Mazda completely reprogrammed the system for immediate throttle response and linear power delivery. Steering's electrically assisted, suspension's based around McPherson struts at the front, torsion beam at the rear, and yes, it works properly, my friends. Conventional dampers, 4-wheel disc brakes, wheels and tires are 19s, towing capacity is 1,500 pounds, curb weight is just shy of 4,000 pounds, and it's worth noting this CX-50 hybrid sits 35 millimeters taller than a regular CX-50. Basically, what Mazda's done here is taken Toyota's hybrid system and given it a personality transplant, kind of like taking a Formula One driver, sticking them in a Camry, and telling them to make it fun. And fun fact, I spent 3 hours researching how to pronounce Jinba Itai properly for this episode, which is more time than people spend researching their car purchases. Did you know that 80% of you are not subscribed? Yes, it's true. 80% of you are not subscribed. I checked the data. So if you like the content on this channel, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, make sure you like this. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Now back to your regularly scheduled episode. Right off the top, we know that Mazda builds cars for drivers, and that is evident right here behind the wheel. I am set up perfectly behind the wheel. The steering wheel is the right shape, the right size. The seat is highly adjustable and very supportive. I've got a great interface to this CX-50, and that should come as no surprise because Mazda does indeed build cars for drivers. And that's the thing. Anytime I get behind the wheel of any Mazda, it's like putting on a tailored suit. Everything just fits right. Once I get the seat adjusted and the steering wheel adjusted, I am set up perfectly. The seat puts you in that perfect position. The steering wheel is spot on. You can find the pedals without hunting for them, and there's a perfect dead pedal for your left foot. Plus, the sight lines are so clear, you remember why cars used to have windows instead of mail slots. It's the kind of ergonomic perfection that other brands have completely forgotten about, and Mazda says, hey, we got your back. This is exactly how every car should feel, unlike some other car makers who think that good ergonomics are optional equipment. Beyond the minimalism of this interior and the stunning design, what I love about it is Mazda's commitment to traditional buttons and dials. It's almost rebellious. While everyone else is putting climate controls 3 layers deep on a touchscreen, Mazda gives you actual knobs and buttons that work while you're wearing gloves. It's like they asked drivers what they actually wanted instead of asking focus groups what they thought looked futuristic. And the result is an interface that works with your muscle memory instead of just fighting it. And visibility is so good in all directions that it's genuinely shocking given how many other crossovers I've driven lately. For the most part, you can see the corners of the vehicle. The rear window is actually useful for backing up. The A-pillars don't require you to weave your head around like you're dodging sniper fire just to see if someone's in the crosswalk. It's designed by people who apparently believe that seeing where you're going is more important than looking cool in Instagram photos. These days, that level of common sense is practically unheard of. A lot of modern crossovers are designed like a bank vault. This one remembers that cars are meant to have windows for a reason. And this infotainment screen is perfectly sized. It's large enough to be useful and small enough just to stay out of the way. But the fact that it can act as a touchscreen and isn't within reach of a driver is a little bit of an issue. Compared to other crossovers, infotainment systems, and their ease of use, this definitely leaves a little bit on the table, and maybe this is the price you pay for what are perhaps the best dynamics in the segment. One of the things I like highlighting for people who are new to the Mazda brand is that these interiors are gorgeous, and one of the reasons is that the materials here are more premium than premium brands' entry-level models. This is extremely well executed. In terms of spaciousness, front row, there's plenty of room here. In that second row, well, I can just fit behind myself in this seating position, but it's still useful enough that a couple of adults can travel in the back seat for extended periods and still be comfortable. Even though the CX-50 is meant to be the stylish version of the CX-5, it doesn't detract in terms of useful cargo space. There's tons of room under that hatch, and you can easily drop those rear seats if you have to load large items in your Mazda. At this Premium Plus trim in the US or GT here in Canada, this does have a heads-up display. The only issue with it is that I can't see it very well with my polarized sunglasses. When I don't have them on, well, I can see it just fine. When you launch this thing, it's clear that Mazda has tuned this so that all the horses and all the electrons all come together and march forward with maximum thrust. 0 to 60 is about 7.5 seconds or so, but with the electric motors, all of that torque hits instantly and you're on the move without any hesitation at all. But the magic isn't in the numbers. 219 horsepower and 38 miles per gallon are pretty compelling math, but the magic is in how completely natural it feels. Most hybrids make you hyper aware of the technology. You feel the engine starting and stopping, you notice the transition between electric and gas motor, you become an unwilling participant in the efficiency optimization process. Does Mazda just drives like a really good engine that happens to sip fuel? Press the throttle and power arrives immediately and predictably. No waiting for turbos to spool, no CVT rubber banding, because this CVT actually works really well. No computer deciding whether you need that acceleration or not. It's hybrid technology that works with your driving style instead of making you, as the driver, adapt to it. And we all know these eCVTs are a bit of a misnomer. Yes, they're transmissions, and yes, they're continuously variable, but that's really not what these things are about. The industry probably could do some new nomenclature for these things, because in the real world, they work exceptionally well. And here, it doesn't feel like a CVT at all. Instead of that characteristic rubber banding effect, Mazda completely reprogrammed this thing to respond to the driver. You get the efficiency benefits of a CVT. The engine can run at its most efficient RPM regardless of vehicle speed, but without feeling like you're driving through pudding. It's like they took the one transmission type that usually makes cars feel disconnected and somehow made it feel more connected than most traditional automatics. That's not just good engineering, that's Mazda's way of doing some proper automotive alchemy. Most hybrids make you drive like your grandmother. This one makes you drive like your grandmother wishes she could, with authority and the ability to get 38 miles per gallon. When it comes to dynamics, that's where this CX-50 hybrid shines, because it hasn't forgotten that it's a Mazda. When it comes to steering, it represents everything that's right about Mazda's driver-focused philosophy. In an era where most crossovers have steering that makes you feel like you're playing a video game with a broken controller, this wheel actually communicates what the front tires are actually doing. You can feel the road surface to a certain degree, sense when those tires are struggling for grip, and place the car exactly the way you want it so you can carve a perfect line. It's perfectly strong on center. It's not artificially heavy like some manufacturers think equals sporty, and it's not so light that you feel disconnected from the whole driving experience. It's just right, weighted appropriately, but honest about what's happening underneath. And this is exactly how steering should feel, and Mazda just knows how to do it right. And somehow Mazda set up the suspension so it's a wonderful compromise between ride and handling without feeling like a compromise. Mazda's found that sweet spot where you can carry real speed through corners without your passengers filing a complaint with HR. But you're not getting dental work done after every time you hit a pothole. It's compliant enough for North American roads, which, let's be honest, are not exactly famous for their smoothness. But the suspension manages body and wheel control perfectly so you can take advantage of all of its dynamics when the corners get interesting. With a lot of crossovers, you're really not going to complain about the brakes, but what Mazda's done with their braking system here is elevated a notch above, because we know that Mazda builds and engineers cars for drivers like us. Sure, you can ease into stops with this, but you can actually trail brake into corners, and you can use the brakes as a tool instead of just an emergency device. It gives you that kind of natural, intuitive feel that used to be standard, but now we seem to be chasing with a lot of modern braking systems. The fact that it delivers that kind of feel and control combined with regenerative braking is just astonishing, and there's really no discerning when regen blends into actual braking and vice versa. This system is completely dialed. When it comes to fuel consumption, here are my real world numbers, and that 38 miles per gallon number that they promise, well, I think I could achieve it if I didn't enjoy using the throttle so much. I've been averaging 35 miles per gallon. Can't seem to do much better because I enjoy using the throttle, but I'm not doing much worse either, no matter how I drive this, which is astonishing. And for my Canadian friends, that's about 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers. So for me to achieve just 3 miles per gallon off the promised number, well, that is astonishing. I would have expected my mileage to be much worse, and I'd love to hear from real world owners what you're getting in your CX-50 hybrid, so please leave a comment below. How do you spec yours? Well, thankfully, it's an easy question to answer. What you are looking at is a 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Premium Plus in the US, or GT here in Canada. The paint is ingot blue metallic and the interior is black leather. Base price for a preferred CX-50 Hybrid in the US is $33,970. As tested in this Premium Plus trim, it's $40,050 US. In Canada, base price for a GSL is $42,950, and as tested, it's $48,350. This Premium Plus trim, or the GT here in Canada, represents everything right about smart equipment packaging. Mazda just loaded this thing with everything that matters: leather seats, heated and ventilated front seats, Bose audio, wireless charging, 19-inch wheels, advanced safety tech, all-wheel drive. It's all standard, no games, no upselling, no, well, if you wanted heated seats, you also need to buy the sport package. It's equipment packaging for adults who have better things to do than decode option sheets. Now, before you get all excited and order your Mazda CX-50 Hybrid, we've done a deep dive into what owners are saying on the subreddits and the forums to give you some real insight into what it's like to live with a CX-50 Hybrid. First thing, that EV mode button, owners say it's essentially decorative and can't make it work consistently, but some owners discovered the workaround. Accelerate past your target speed, lift off the throttle for 2 seconds to trigger EV engagement, then feather the pedal to maintain electric operation. One owner achieved 50 58.6 miles per gallon city using this technique. Here's one thing that I don't understand, and some owners don't like the seats. They describe them as sitting on a wooden bench, and some owners bought the same Amazon gel cushions to make the whole thing tolerable. I really don't understand that because I like the seats. It must be a Princess and the Pea thing. And some owners say that winter performance is interesting. Expect mid-20s for miles per gallon in cold weather versus 42 for the same owner who's driving to Florida. One owner said, "This doesn't feel like a Mazda due to the Toyota powertrain," and I think that's a bit of an imagination. However, they discovered that the manual S mode provides surprising engagement, like driving a manual transmission with no clutch, and it's not exactly that, but it works pretty well. Bottom line from long-term owners, 85% still recommend it, but with some caveats about mastering its quirks. That's the ownership reality professional reviews never communicate. And thanks to the owners for their insights, and now that you know what you're getting into, let's get on with the show. My verdict? Well, here's what Mazda figured out that other manufacturers haven't. The problem with hybrids isn't the electric motors, it's the programming. While Toyota designs most of their hybrid systems for maximum efficiency, Mazda took that same system and completely rewrote the software. They calibrated the throttle response, the power delivery curves, even the transmission logic to prioritize driver engagement over that last tenth of a mile per gallon. The result? You get 38 miles per gallon in a vehicle that responds like a naturally aspirated engine, handles like a proper crossover, and never leaves you waiting for power when you need it. This isn't just a hybrid crossover that drives well, it's proof that we don't have to choose between efficiency and engagement anymore. In a market dominated by crossovers, increasingly dominated that treat driving like a necessary evil, this CX-50 shines because it's clear that it was designed and engineered by people who actually love driving. It delivers the efficiency that modern life demands with the driving dynamics that make that efficiency worth pursuing. At this price, it's not just competitive, it's disruptive. It makes you question why anyone would pay more for less capability, less efficiency, and worse driving dynamics. From my perspective, this isn't just a good hybrid. It's a good car that happens to be a hybrid, and that's a distinction that matters more than most manufacturers realize. This is exactly what happens when engineers who love driving get their hands on proven hybrid technology. It's efficiency that doesn't hate you back. Thanks for hanging out with me today and having a look at this 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, you're not new, you know what to do. Smash the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, like this, and as always, sharing is caring, so please share this with your friends, especially on Reddit, because on Reddit, they really need to see reviews for drivers from drivers. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including a very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time. And remember, cars don't understeer by themselves, not even Mazda CX-50 hybrids. And since you've hung around this long, well, have a look at my favorite Mazda and would make an excellent garage mate to the CX-50 hybrid. It's the MX-5 with a manual, and I think you'll enjoy that episode. Thanks again for watching. See you again next time.